Hey everyone, welcome to this month's AP Town Hall. My name is Brian Hall, and I'm joined by John Talley. He's a global account manager for Ultimate Ears, and I'd just like to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us today.
Yeah, happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Perfect. So I know that you have a little bit of a presentation that you want to give, but uh, I would love to at least introduce you to the viewers at home, and maybe if you could have them, or if you could give them a little bit of a background into, how you got to this point in your life.
Yeah, for sure. Brian, thanks again. It was cool meeting you a couple weeks ago and kind of setting all this up. So thanks
Sure.
again for having me. Yeah, my name's John. I grew up here in Southern California. I myself am like a musician. Have been kind of in the music scene just locally here in Southern California for most of my life now. Uh, Grew up originally just playing in church and kind of learning the instrument of, playing percussion and drums just through the church on Sundays. And then uh, started really getting into it just outside of it and ended up kind of going to school for it in Hollywood, the Musicians Institute. And yeah, been playing ever since in original rock bands, cover bands, you name it. Just kind of done touring and all of that throughout Southern uh, Orange County, San Diego, Los Angeles. And in my time of being a musician, I grew up in, the 90s, 2000s, and just ear protection wasn't really a thing for me and back then. So, probably 13, 14 years ago, I was just at that time where I had permanent tinnitus and my ears had some pretty heavy damage just from years of playing gigs, doing recordings, just playing loud in the garage, and uh, found this company, Ultimate Ears. It was right up the road from me in Irvine, California. And luckily, I was just a local customer and got to know David, who I still work till this day. And he's in sales. And it was just such a delightful interaction with the company. And, outside of just the great product that I received, it was just such a cool experience to be part of this team and or just see what the team does. And about 8 years ago started working for the company. So that's a brief history of just you know why I'm a musician and what I've done in my life and kind of how I ended up here at Ultimate Ears. So, and I can go into more of that as we go through this presentation as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it's fascinating how the very specific life events that we go through, lead us to the present day. And, being a musician, the fact that you were a customer of Ultimate Ears before you started working there, I think is fascinating as well. It really kind of speaks to how much you kind of believe in the product. Otherwise, you could have gone anywhere, And I
For
imagine being
sure.
a drummer as well. Talk about not having ear protection. That is probably one of the most damaging, if not the most damaging, instrument that you can play to your ears.
Of course. Yeah, it really pushes those SPLs. And especially if you're like me, I was practicing a lot in a small room growing up and just going to town on those drums. And that's the loudest way and the most damaging way you can do it is in a small room versus an outdoor open amphitheater. So um, yeah. And I mean, if there's further questions you have, would be happy to answer those. Or if you want to jump into the quick presentation I have to do that as well.
I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about the process for getting fitted
Mhm.
for the right size for your ears, and then what is the process for, once you get the in ears made and you get them shipped to you and you try them out and they're not quite right. Now that you've got them custom made, can you send them back and get new ones, or how does that work as well?
Yeah, so I'll start with just the, beginning stages of, manufacturing and production. When you are, first becoming a customer and artist with us, first stage is just to go to an audiologist ear doctor. So that's, they're in any city, pretty much nationally and internationally, there's an audiologist ear doctor around the corner. We usually try and have the customer take a PDF document with them to this ear doctor that has all of our, recommendations as far as the material that's used. But basically, you just go and they will shoot some silicone impression material into your ear. that will cure after about 5 minutes. And once you have your complete set of impressions, you just mail them to our office in Irvine. That's where we will scan them into our system with the 3D scanner. So then they're saved as like a specific file, and then that's how we start the manufacturing production stages. As far as when you receive the in-ears, let's say you buy some in-ears, you go to the ear doctor and you get the casts made and you ship them to us. Usually takes about 8 to 10 business days to manufacture the product. After that 10-day, we'll ship them to you. And let's say you receive them and it's not fitting well, or you have a pain in the top part of your ear, or they look kind of big, and my ears are a lot smaller because we get those questions from time to time. We have different services and fit adjustment techniques that we can do and offer to the customer. So if they feel like it's comfortable, but maybe if you just shaved off a little bit, we have the techniques and tools available in our Irvine office to where if you ship them back to us, we would use some specific tools, and per the artist or customer, your instruction, like, yeah, it just feels like it's sore on the bottom part of my ear.
Mm.
Then we can kind of take that note and make the altercations to the in-ear monitor. If by chance there's a case where, we do that whole service for the customer, ship it back again, and they're still like, yeah, it just doesn't feel right, then we kind of weigh the situation. Do we want to try and do a remake and have you maybe go get another set of ear impressions made? We'll have the first ones already in hand in Irvine. We can kind of compare apples to apples and see, like, what's going on with this ear anatomy, because every ear shape is different, and that's kind of the art form in how we manufacture these. Is this person's got really small ears, how are we going to do this? And that's how our technicians kind of take each case. And then there's obviously the bigger ear, which is a little bit easier because you can fit as many drivers in there as possible. um, but yeah, we really stand by our product and our customer service, and are always there and standing by that. So we always are willing and able to work with the customer to ensure that they are comfortable. Because I know when I first bought mine, it was probably like 5 days or even longer, about a week or so, that they were pretty sore. I was wearing them for long periods of time, and I was just like, I'm not sure. But then after about 2 weeks, all pain was gone, and I was taking flights across the country and doing a lot of hours of performances and had them in. And still to this day, I have those in-ear monitors, and they work great. So yeah,
I suppose a lot of that headache can be mitigated by just making sure that the consumer follows the directions, right? Because
yeah,
that could be a headache getting it fitted, but not quite the way that you need it to be fitted, and then you have to send it back, be like, that's not correct, and they have to wait another 10 days or however long before they can get it. So,
yeah, for sure. We have a pretty rigid set of instructions that we send out, and we have it available on our website in case a customer just goes through the process without asking questions, or working with a rep like myself. We try to make everything readily available to the customer. But yeah, there are those cases where a customer has a ear that's the size of the quarter, but they send us an impression the size of a raisin, and we're like, yeah, we need more material, so we can get as much detail of your ear as possible. So,
gotcha.
um, but yeah, we're more than willing and happy to work with the customer in those cases where if there's like something that comes up, we can work with them through that.
Cool.
So,
One question I did want to ask you, and it's something that we talked about a little bit last time we chatted. Um, I know that the origin of these things is basically the hearing aid technology, and I know that with modern hearing aids, you're able to open up an app, and there's an EQ in there, and you can custom make your frequency response based on what your personal listening experience is or needs are. Can you explain why that wouldn't necessarily be an optimal thing for an engineer to be able to do? Um, and
yeah.
what sort of limitations there are regarding personalized frequency response outputs.
Yeah. So we had a product several years ago called the Personal Reference Monitor, where you could do that. You could tune these by hand. So, you know, if you had some hearing damage just on one side of your head first, if your left side went out or just is kind of reduced due to some kind of incident, um, that was a product that was kind of applicable to that person. But the, in those cases, we had to create a machine really that you could do yourself as far as equalizing goes. And just to get that machine, distributed worldwide, started to become a challenge because it was very heavy from my remembering back in the day. And just because you ship something to Los Angeles doesn't mean someone in Chula Vista, California can't, just drive right up, which is 3 hours away. So that became kind of tricky to, maneuver through. But that's kind of why we ended up getting rid of that product. But we ventured out and started creating more products on our lineup. So you saw each product card that explained, like the 5, 6, 7, reference 11, 18 live and premiere. All those products have a very individual sound response. So if a customer comes to us, saying, "Hey, this is what I do as a musician, or this is what I do as a producer," in 99% of the time, we can say, "Well, this is what we've seen in our time of selling the products as far as who gravitates towards what." Um, and in those cases, it's usually a happy customer 99% of the time. So,
Awesome.
um, yeah, it's it's definitely a great product, and for sure stand by it.
Cool.
So
Yeah, so we need to, we're coming up on the hour, so we need to wrap things up. So yeah, John, listen, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to come and chat with the students about Ultimate Ears and a little bit about you and your background, and the product seems amazing, so I really appreciate it. Very grateful.
yeah, for sure, Brian. It was great. It was great chatting with you before, and today was great. And thanks again. Really appreciate it.
Perfect. Yeah, cool. All right, guys.
See you
And
later.
for everyone watching at home, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye, Brian.
See you.